You're back with Cultures TV, and we're speaking about the hashtag Oscars So White controversy that's happening right now, and the position about Jada Pinkett Smith and the video that she made, and Janet Hubert. That's where we left off. So we're going to shoot it back to you, Alyssa. You started to make a comment after Ashley talked about Miss Hubert and her comments against Jada's video.
I love where you started to go with that, talking about bigger issues, and I really wish that she would have talked about diversity in a bigger way. And I think that's something that this whole Oscars So White conversation is bringing up. It's just another chance to have a conversation, and that a lot of people are paying attention. I think it's an opportunity.
And I'd like to piggyback on that also and echo the same sentiment. Although we may not necessarily agree with everything that Jada says, it is in the public consciousness right now. People are talking about it. I am a woman of color, but of a different color, and I don't know that she necessarily speaks for me, but I can say that African Americans may not be getting their due in Hollywood, neither are Hispanic Americans or Asian Americans. And I do think this is raising that consciousness across our country. Somebody had to be the ignition point, and I think she happened to be that. Whether I agree with every point she made, this conversation is happening and it is important. And so I agree with you. There are many things to talk about, and it's not just the Oscars.
So what is that? You know, I found that interesting with Aunt Viv or Janet Hubert's comments about we have mortgages to pay, we have other things to worry about. So it was a little double-sided because she started out saying our children are being killed in the streets. I mean, that seems big to me. And yet paying your mortgage is a big thing, but what is it? Are you gonna, how are we gonna counteract the children being shot in the streets if we don't talk about diversity, right? You still have a mortgage to pay, so are you gonna trade one for the other? I mean, for me, it felt a little double-edged, the comments.
I felt like what she was trying to say, or intended to do, was to highlight the immediacy of other people's situations. The Oscars and films are entertainment, and they play a very vital role in our society. Let's not forget that. In fact, I'm a journalism and media communications scholar. So I do recognize the importance of studying these issues. But I also recognize that when you are in the public spotlight, your voice is a weapon for change. And what you strategically decide to put your resources to matters. And I personally would like to see Jada and other celebrities use their powers to speak about other issues that affect not only Hollywood or the patrons of Hollywood. I would just like to see that. I think there's more to be said in that conversation. And
Hollywood is powerful. I mean, if you look at Halle Berry has made comments about it as well. She thought when she won the Oscar for Best Actress that she'd broken through the door and realized later, well, actually, no, I haven't. I thought it was bigger than me, and maybe it's not. So, you know, Hollywood does have that power to portray people in a certain light, and that light could make a difference in everyday lives. I mean, thoughts on that?
I don't know. I really struggle with jumping on that bandwagon. For me is just, I mean, you are coming from a lot of privilege, and to think that, oh, you don't get this award, or, and I know it's bigger than that, but it feels like it's just the timing. I think it was just poor timing.
it's poor timing.
It was poor timing. If it wasn't, yeah, it was self-serving. If it just wasn't happening the way, and you know, if she would have maybe included some other issues that were coming in, kind of with,
or maybe it was
Michigan. There's so many things happening.
So
I'm like, I can't even care about you right now, about you not getting your award when people are actually dying.
Or even last year, I mean, Will wasn't up for an award last year. It would have had a different impact, right?
Because this has been happening a long time.
Right.
Like, this is not brand new. So, if, you know, to wait until, you know, your husband didn't get this nomination for this film he was currently in, it just doesn't feel right.
And I'm sorry, not for nothing. I saw Will's piece when he spoke on the radio, and I'm not sure if I buy the idea that Jada or he wasn't privy to what Jada was doing, that they didn't come together as a solid collective force, as a marriage, a unity, especially if you're talking about solidarity.
Exactly, yes.
It almost felt like a good cop, bad cop type of situation. Oh, or if Jada, if you're gonna go this far, then I have to rail in the reins, you know. So I'm with you. I can't necessarily jump on the bandwagon. I do recognize the importance of the situation, but when I think about Michigan and what is going on, I think about these young brothers in the streets who are losing their lives. These mothers are coaching their sons not to do certain things to preserve their lives and their livelihood. I just think that for me, when I'm facing death or I'm facing entertainment, there's one that just becomes a little bit more pertinent than the other for me.
Perfect, perfect. Great segue. We'll be back in a minute and we'll talk a little bit about some other stars and their different viewpoints on this argument and some of the pertinent things that we're dealing with in the United States today. Be right back.